Hey guys, welcome back to Just Being a Mom podcast, and I'm so excited to be back. I missed you guys so much, and I'm here to talk about my birth story. It took me a while to get back. I didn't expect to be gone so long. It took me a while to just adjust to having 2 kids now, and it was a lot. But I'm glad to be back, and I can't wait to tell you all about my birth story. It was a really tough one, so I'm gonna read it because I get kind of emotional. Well, I used to get, like, I couldn't tell the story without like bawling, crying, so I had to write it all out, and it was like a part of my like process. And so I wrote it all down, and I'm gonna read it to you guys. And I'll stop in between to tell you like what's happening, but I'm looking away, so let's start. Yes, okay. So on May 1st, I had my baby, my sweet baby boy, at Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital. My experience there was terrible. Firstly, as I was being prepped for surgery, the nurses asked me several times if I had access to my patient portal. I advised them all 4 times that they asked that I didn't have access. Whatever information they needed from the portal, they had ample time to get because I was registered weeks in advance. They went on with the surgery without getting any of the information that they needed from the portal, and this worried me, and it made them seem like pretty incompetent. Because like, okay, what'd you need? And so we're proceeding without it. Okay, fine. They took so much blood, which I guess is standard, but if you're a nurse, you should know what you're taking it for. One of the nurses was like, what is she taking this blood for? And she was like, I don't know. I'm just like, hello, like this crew is like red flag after red flag. I mean, what's going on here? And then after that, they rolled me into surgery. And then as I was getting my epidural, mind you, this was a planned C-section. So as I was getting my epidural, the nurse was just like standing there with her hands on her hips and just like with an attitude like, all right, be still. And like, he like stabbed me with a needle. I mean, he didn't stab me, but he, went ahead with the epidural. And she was just like standing there with attitude, like, not advising me through the pain, not helping me. And then she's just like, okay, well, this part you have to be still. So she like grabs my arm, twists them like this, and like holds me down. It was like very rough, very uncomfortable. And I'm just like, what the, like, this is not how it's supposed to be done. I've had a C-section before. I've had an epidural before, and I've been at a different hospital before and I tell everybody, like, everybody treated me with so much respect, so caring, so loving. The first time I had an epidural, the nurse was like literally basically giving me a massage and like telling me to breathe and like rubbing my back and like telling me, you're gonna be fine, everything's fine. And then this lady stood there with her hands on her hips like this, just like that. Okay, just rude. Hold on, let me make sure I don't lose my spot. Yeah, it was just very uncomfortable. Then after the baby was delivered, they sewed me up, everything was fine. The anesthesiologist tells me, good thing my baby is light-skinned. I'll quote him, good thing your baby's light-skinned and has lots of hair. What? Like, why did that need to be said? First of all, I was like not even talking to you. And second of all, first of all, I don't know which should come first, but he's not black. And even if he was, it's very still racially insensitive, like very racist on his behalf. Like why would you say something like that? Like if my kid was dark skinned, it's a bad thing, like F you. And all black babies come out light skinned, if you didn't know that. We all come out light, and then we brown over time. Okay. I don't know if you knew that, but that's what happens. So I was just like appalled. I couldn't even believe it. Like, I'm just like, just get me to my husband, get me to my baby. I just want to be done with this place. Then when I arrived to my room, I wasn't fed the entire day. My doctor advised me later on that she did not order that I didn't have food. I wasn't nauseous and I wasn't lightheaded, and I asked several times if I could eat, and the nurses, to the point where one of the nurses brought food, and then another nurse turned it away. You know, she was just like, no, she can't have any food. They only offered me Jello, and in cases of a C-section, you're usually offered clears, which is like broth, and like still a whole meal. Like it has broth, it has fruit, it has Jello, and all the things, and I'm only offered Jello. No, like I'm supposed to eat. Like you didn't offer me any of these things. So yeah, I just don't understand why I was not fed. And I talked to my doctor like before the C-section, like days before, and I was just like, I just want to make sure that I can eat, you know, because I ate last time. I don't want it to be a problem. I don't want it to be a problem this time. And I could talk, and it's like, good thing my husband was there, like, because he was very well aware that like I was fine, I could have eaten. But anyways, later that day, that afternoon, my doctor came in, and she was just like, well, I ordered these compression things for your legs, and they're not here, so I guess she went to tell somebody to get them, and they never brought them. And the breathing machine, I don't know if any of you have ever had a C-section, or like surgery, you have to like work your lungs back up to strength, and so you have to like stuck in this breathing machine. Mine broke, and I asked my doctor, could they give me another one? She's like, yeah, I'll let them know. Asked 2 other nurses, could they give me another one? And nobody ever brought me another one. And then like the 3rd nurse was like, I was like, look, is somebody gonna bring me this breathing machine? Come to find out, I was just using it wrong. But nobody, like I had to ask 3 different people to help me figure this out. Like, that's ridiculous. So yeah, I think, oh yeah, oh my gosh, that was horrible. Okay, so now we're on to the second day. Okay, the second day, I didn't receive any help using the bathroom, showering, or removing bandages. I was basically on my own, and I could have been seriously hurt. After they removed the catheter, I had a lot of trouble peeing. And basically one of the nurses said, like, don't worry, you won't have to put the catheter back in. Like, there's some other things we can do to help you to pee. And next thing I know, a whole different nurse is like, comes in and is like, oh, we're putting the catheter back in. I'm just like, wait, did you not communicate with the other nurse? Like, what? Like, I thought we were supposed to be doing something else. And then she was like really rough putting the catheter in. And like, mind you, I had a catheter in before, because I had another C-section before. So I know, like, it's not supposed to feel like this. I keep losing my place, sorry. But I know it's not supposed to feel like this. And then, like, all of the nurses, not all, I had one really good nurse, but she got sent home because there weren't enough people, like patients. But most of the nurses had horrible bedside manner. One nurse was like really loud, and like my husband was trying to sleep, and she like just was just like, oh, your husband's sleeping. You know, like a lot of the nurses just like weren't very loving and comforting. At the other hospital, like I don't even remember having to change a diaper. Okay, these nurses were like on top of it, like whatever I needed, like helped me, put me in the shower, carried me out of the bed, washed me, okay? Took my bandages off piece by piece, just like the best care. And I told my midwife, I was just like, was I just spoiled the first time? Like, is this supposed to happen? She was like, no, stop saying that. You weren't spoiled, you had proper care. And at this hospital, they dropped the ball. And I've heard many stories where they have dropped the ball a lot of times with patient care. Most of the stories that I've heard, they look like me. But, you know, the stories that I've heard, they look like me. Okay, moving on. yeah, oh yeah. And then when it came to lactation consulting, they kept trying to put the baby in the football position. And I'm like, no, like, let me just do it this way. And they're like, no, you should do it this way, to the point where I just like gave in because they were like forcing me to do it this way. I'm just like, whatever, I cannot wait to get out of here. So the last day I'm there, I'm trying to get discharged. I call my doctor first thing, right when I woke up, 9 a.m., right when they opened, like, hey, is everything good? Can I be discharged? And they're like, yeah, we sent over everything, blah, blah, blah. Okay, 2 hours go by. I'm like, I talked to the nurse. The nurse says she talked to the doctor. 2 hours go by. I'm like, why am I still here? They discharged the baby. I call my doctor again. They're like, yeah, I don't know what the holdup is. We sent over everything. I have to go out to the nurse's station, call the doctor from the nurse's station, and I'm on hold. The doctor calls the nurse's station while I'm out there on hold. And he's just like, I can hear him. And he's like, yeah, she's discharged. And then the nurse hops up like, oh yeah, you can go home, just sign right here, blah, blah, blah. Like, didn't check a system, because the whole time they were like, oh, well, let me check the system, nothing updated. And then all of a sudden, like, now I don't have to check the system. Granted, I don't know how everything works. You can definitely comment below and like, okay, this is how we do things. If you're a nurse, this is how we do things. But look, she told me she was checking the system to be discharged, and then all of a sudden, oh, just sign right here, you can go. Didn't sit well with me. Anyways, so I'm walking out. They forced me to sit in a wheelchair. Come to find out, because I'm just like getting up and down, like my adrenaline is going, I could just walk out of this hospital. They forced me to sit in a wheelchair. And then like they can't fit the wheelchair through this door, so I have to stand up again. And I'm just telling and poor girl, like, it's not her fault. I was just telling her like, it's okay, like I can walk. And then the nurse yells from down the hall like, she can't walk. She needs to ride in a wheelchair. I'm like, what the fuck? So I just started crying, and because now at this point my husband's like, shall we just ride in a wheelchair? I'm just like, wait a minute. No, you're not about to turn to me now, okay? So I literally start like screaming, like, I can't believe this. Like, I'm crying, like I put my hand over my mouth so I'm not screaming, crying. Because at this point, I'm so upset. I'm like holding my baby. I'm so uncomfortable. I just wanted to walk. And come to find out, when I called to complain, I could have walked the whole time. So what I've done so far to try to get justice for the situation is I've made complaints to my insurance, public health department, medical boards, just anywhere that I can make a complaint. They send you a survey. I gave it all ones. If I could give it a 0, it'd be a 0. I gave them all ones. And what else did I do? I've been trying to get in touch with a lawyer. Like, I don't know if I have a case. If you're a lawyer, please comment below what you think, if I have a case in this situation. But no lawyers have contacted me. So I'm just like, okay, maybe I should just give up and like take my losses. But at the end of the day, they send the bill and I'm just like, I'm not paying for this. This is ridiculous. You guys can't treat people like this, blah, blah, blah. They're like, well, reviewing everything, you still owe, I think it was like $4,000 or something. And it's not that we can afford it. It's just like paying it means that like, oh, I agree to this like treatment. And for me, it was just so hurtful to pay it because it was just like putting salt on a wound to pay it. But lastly, what I ended up doing to not pay it is, so hospitals are nonprofit, and nonprofit hospitals are supposed to have a financial assistance called charity care. You just Google charity care and type in the name of the hospital, and you can basically get your medical like stuff removed, like your medical bills like waived if you make below a certain amount. I'm unemployed, so I meet the criteria. Okay. So I got it waived that way. So justice was served, not in the way I wanted it to be, but at least I didn't have to pay. But thanks for listening, guys. Tune in next week. Comment below what you thought of this episode. I need your help, clearly, but I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. See you next time.